This is the Continental Cross King, the tire I've been using for the past year on my main bike, my Santa Cruz Chameleon, and I've been really impressed with this tire. So in this video, I want to tell you why I decided to pick this tire for my bike. I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about this tire and then kind of tell you what surprised me as well. So I was building the perfect do-it-all bike. I wanted a bike that I could ride on rail trails, ride on mountain bike trails, ride on pump tracks, dirt jumps, what have you. And I picked the Santa Cruz Chameleon as the frame for that build, and then I picked these tires as the kind of do-it-all tire that I was looking for. These tires were not only a great option because they're super versatile, but they were also super cheap too. I wanted to buy a set of them because the Maxxis tires that were on the Chameleon originally were just a little bit too rugged for what I was kind of looking to get out of the bike. They weren't going to be fast rolling enough, they weren't light enough or anything like that. So I wanted something kind of light, something very fast rolling, and then of course I wanted something cheap because I was buying two of them. So I came across the Cross King. A few of the other options I was considering was like Delium tires, like Kenda tires are kind of in this same price range too, but I just couldn't find any that were kind of hitting all the same boxes that the Cross Kings were. And that really came down to just the overall tread pattern on the tire. I really like how rounded and sort of like dirt jump-esque the tread pattern on the tires look. They just look like they would roll super fast, but they're not quite dirt jump tires. Obviously they have a little bit more tread, which kind of lends itself to being better at mountain biking. This again is called a Cross King tire, so it's great for cross country. I like that it has a nice rounded tread pattern that sort of gradually leans over to a slightly more aggressive side knob here, and it's just going to dig in just a little bit more, but it's going to have like a really nice gradual feel as you roll the bike over, which I feel like lends itself to the predictability of these tires, and that's a feature that I've really come to like a lot. It's really fun to ride these tires on like dirt jumps and pump tracks because it has that nice smooth rollover, so it allows you to like really kind of carve the bike and maneuver the bike in a predictable, smooth fashion. So one of the first things I noticed about these tires when I took them for a spin was that they feel very supple. They have a much grippier compound than what I was used to with some of the other tires that I tested out, and I really ended up liking them because, you know, they don't have the biggest, craziest knobs on them, but they still do a really good job of not slipping out over roots and rocks. And Continental actually advertises that with this tire too. They're meant for all terrain, they're meant for all different conditions, and I really feel like they did a great job with sort of balancing out the fast rolling element with the grip element. And I really like that while these have faster rolling tread, they do have a great amount of grip. One of my big concerns with buying these tires since they were so cheap is that they were going to have issues with punctures, that they were just going to kind of not work as well as some of the other more expensive tires that I've used in the past. But it turns out that that was not the case. I've ridden these tires on some pretty aggressive trails, maybe not as aggressive as some of the trails that I've ridden with my Exo Plus casing on my Maxxis tires. And I'm also a little bit more careful with these tires, of course. But granted, I have not had any punctures, any issues, and I haven't even had air leaking out of the tires or any of those types of issues. They've been super, super solid, and I can really appreciate that these tires have just been completely hassle-free the entire time that I've had them. So when it comes to sizing, I was pretty stoked to see that these are very true to size. I just measured them with the caliper and they're maybe off by 0.5 millimeter, if anything. So they're super true to size. I went with the 27.5 by 2.3 and I feel like they were the perfect choice. I'm running these on a hardtail obviously, so I wanted something with enough volume to kind of quiet the trail chatter, but also something that was, you know, skinny enough to where it wasn't going to be like a fat bike. I wanted something that was a little bit skinnier, a little bit more nimble, something that also kind of was going to be good for dirt jumps and pump tracks and stuff like that. So I feel like the 2.3 was a perfect size for my needs, and I really like that they come in a bunch of different sizes as well. They come in like 26, 27.5, 29. I think they might even offer these in like smaller sizes for like kids bikes or different things like that. So that's super cool. So another quick thing to mention, these are tubeless ready and I have them set up tubeless. It was super easy to set them up, no complaints with that. These also have a thing called shield wall protection. So like I said, I've never gotten a puncture with these, never got a sidewall tear, anything like that. And that could be partially due to this sidewall protection here. It's sort of like a woven fabric on the sidewall of the tire. And you know, it's one of those things, it's like, did it work? Did I just not hit a rock on the side of my tire? who really knows, but overall the tires have held up fine, so I have to say they're probably doing their job. Another quick thing to mention, these are also e-bike certified, so you could ride these on e-bike no problem. And they're just super beefy tires. Like I said, for like $40 or $50 that I paid for these tires, I was super impressed by how like legit these tires are. They don't seem like they're knockoff tires. They don't seem like they're entry level or budget or anything like that. They're just very legit tires. So I gotta say my favorite thing about these tires is just how versatile they are and how they've kind of worked for all the different places that I've wanted to take my Santa Cruz Chameleon. They're just super fast rolling, but they also have a great bit of grip. And if you're looking for a sort of all-arounder tire, maybe this is your first pair of tires you're buying, you're not really sure if you want like a ton of grip or if you want something fast rolling, I feel like this is like the perfect middle ground to kind of get you started, and then you can go one way or the other. I'm pretty sold on these Continental tires, to be honest. I feel like the price points are just spot on, and I just don't see why you would want to pay more for a tire that works just as good as like the Maxxis or Swabie tires. So let me know if you have any questions down in the comments. I would love to help you out, help you make your tire decisions a little bit easier, and thank you guys so much for watching. Catch you next time.